In The Gene Genie and Watch That Man, Bowie dramatizes the effects of the meeting between his Ziggy persona and New York City, where he discovers that the glamour of rock and roll hides a lot of emptiness. Cracked actor takes Ziggy to LA, where he comes face to face with the true nature of another one of his traits, his stardom. Through Ziggy, Bowie has been singing the praises of stardom, describing it as an exciting form of existence. Now that Ziggy actually made him a star, he takes a second look at it. The protagonist is an aging former movie star, a remnant from the golden age of Hollywood, a time when every star had a one-dimensional, larger-than-life image that became associated with them in the public's mind, and people liked to believe that they were that way in real life as well. Our hero, apparently, had the cleanest image of them all, and for the public he was a symbol for a wholesome way of life. But in real life he is actually an egomaniac inflated by his legend, and that makes him stiff and in constant need of sexual vent. He probably had no problem getting sex when he was at the height of his fame, but now that he is over the hill, he has to pay for it, to relive his past glory.
Crack, baby, crack, show me you're real. Smack, baby, smack, it's all that you feel. Suck, baby, suck, give me your hand before you stop professing that you're knocking dead. Oh, stay, please stay, please stay.
So he hires a prostitute and tries to get that feeling again. It seems that he wants the prostitute to make him feel desired again, to tell him that he is knocking her dead, like people used to tell him in his prime. We also hear him begging of the hooker to stay, to keep him company. But the latter, it seems, can feel only the kind of feeling derived from smack, i.e. heroin, and is just hustling him for money.
Yourself a trick down on Sunset and Vine, but since he pinned your baby, you're a porcupine. You sold me illusions for a sack of checks. You made a bad connection 'cause I just want your sex.
The corner of Sunset and Vine is that place in Hollywood where male and female prostitutes would hang out and look for tricks. But it seems that one of the tricks got this prostitute hooked on needles, and now she's a porcupine. Someone who needs to stick more and more needles into herself. She thought that he was a connection, someone who can supply her with drugs, but he disappoints her and tells her that he only hired her for sex. But he made a bad connection as well. He wanted her to give him the illusion of love, of being wanted, but she only wants his money. This is one reading of the song, making it a drama about two miserable people who hook up for a while, each for a different reason, but don't get what they want. But there is, I believe, another level here. Crack and smack are violent words, sung over violent rock backing, and to me they suggest sex of an S&M nature. Why would this actor want his sex rough? Because that's the only thing that he feels, the only way for him to feel like a real person, not an empty shell. The word stiff acquires another meaning. That one-dimensional star image that was thrust upon him became like a stiff outer shell, a fake identity which he is enslaved to, and cannot shake. To free his real self, the actor must crack that shell, and being smacked around gets it done in two ways. Physically, in beating that outer shell, and mentally, in destroying the clean image through a so-called perverted form of sex. In these moments, the actual person rebels against the star persona, and feels like he is in control over it. The porcupine metaphor would then suggest that he has been pinned in many different ways, as if his entire body was made object for sexual penetration, in his efforts to crack the shell. It's all in vain, though. He can't break out of the world of illusion, no matter how much money he pours into it. He feels real at those moments of sexual ecstasy, but when they end, he finds himself back in his fake persona. And this shifts the focus back to Bowie himself. In songs like Star and The Prettiest Star, Bowie idolized stardom, seeing it as a way to rise up all the way, to transcend his boring existence and live an exciting and heroic life. He also believed that through stardom he could make the transformation and play the wild mutation, live the life of constant change that he idealized in Changes. And so, he tailored and adorned the identity of Ziggy, a creature actually made out of stardust. But now, he starts to fear his own creation. Ziggy starts to take over his life, and Bowie seems afraid that he will be stuck with his persona, and become a stiff person who cannot change. Eventually, reality will move on, and he will be left behind, a relic of the glam era, a non-entity. The mention of Sunset Boulevard is a reminder of the movie of that name, the most famous depiction of a former star becoming a slave to her image, and remaining stuck in an era long gone. He must find a way to shed the Ziggy skin, or he might end up like the cracked actor.